Okay, so let's try this again because I got interrupted by my dad. And a few text messages got me because I am a girl and I have to text. And that's nice, Nicole. You're reading Yowie. Anyway, yeah, our Rarity's reading Yowie. So anyway, on with the story! On with the story. On with the story. Focus, focus, focus. Okay, get in serious mode. Okay. Today, as usual, I walked to work. It was the same shit, just a different day. Watching the same people enter the store, grab their merchandise and pay, then walk out with their bags in tow. My shift ended after several hours of this. I clocked out and started walking home. I decided to use a different this time, for a change in pace, a little something different from the normal path I walk. This part of town hit the worst. Only a few houses still stand, and none of them occupied. It truly is a sad sight to see. Then again, it really is the only sight to see. The only sight I'll ever see. Or so I thought. I was stopped by something unusual. A stray cardboard box in the middle of the sidewalk. Now, living in this kind of area, I see trash all the time. Boxes, McDonald's cups, and plastic bags litter the streets and empty fields, but I rarely will see a cardboard box that isn't crushed in one way or another. I noticed this particular box because it happened to be my way. During my younger years, I tried to do what I could do for the community. I pick up trash when I saw it. I attempt to help my neighbors. It was a losing battle. Nowadays, I'd given up hope on cleaning the city. Much less my neighborhood. Now I'll just pass the trash by, letting it blow away in the breeze, or sit there, decompose. I let what's left to the people to do their own things, since most of them don't care about anyone other than themselves. Why should I be any different? I walked past the box, barely giving it a glance. Nothing about it caught my attention right away. I continued on home. My home not far away now. Upon arriving, I sat down and played some video games, attempting to push the box out of my mind. I had little luck. As the box somehow managed to push itself way back in, time crept on by, and I found myself wanting to go for another walk. I left the house and started down my usual route. When I stopped, I was thinking about the box. It made it stick out in my mind. I turned around, starting down the path I had taken home, the path that I only walk once in a blue moon. Curiosity got the best of me, and I wanted some closure. Within minutes, I found it still sitting there, sad and alone, among the broken concrete and overgrown grass. It didn't move. It didn't stand out if it were special. It was an ordinary brown cardboard box. I didn't want to say I came out here for nothing, so I came closer to it. As I drew closer, however, I began to notice something inside. It was brightly colored, multicolored in fact. It was quite small, maybe the size of a few-month-old Labrador puppy. I stopped beside the box and looked down at the colorful blob inside. This is where I currently stand, looking into the box at the small something. No, I know exactly what it is, but my brain isn't allowing me to fully realize it just yet. At first, I just want to say it's simply a toy, left to die alone with all the other things in this block. But then I saw it breathing. In fact, it appeared to be sleeping. My hands sweating, breathing erratic, and blinking my eyes, trying to refresh my vision. Each time the image stays the same. Inside, a sleeping, filly rainbow dash. I kneel down, trying to get a closer look to the box. I can't believe what I'm seeing. There is not a physical, mental, or extraterrestrial way how this could be here. How she could be here. In my gloomy, dark, horrid world. I examined the box further, and on the side, simply the pen says, "Give to a good home." The first thought that runs through my mind, besides the internal Billy Rainbow Dash in a box, is Who would give up a Philly Rainbow Dash? My mind is now a mess of questions. How did she get here? Why is she here? Why is she a filly? Her flank is barren of her cutie mark, meaning she is indeed a filly. As I stand to stretch my tired legs, I accidentally bump the side of the box with my foot, and the inevitable occurs. She wakes up. She looks around, rubbing her face with her foreleg, trying to wake herself up. At first, all she sees is the brown walls of the box. But then she looks up at me. Those large black eyes, along with those rose-colored rims around them, drive my heart so, as the meme goes, explode. Twice. The sheer cuteness of it all drives me to kneel back down. I can't hold back a smile. I haven't smiled like this in years. Since the last time me and my parents went out to the only remaining park in the area. Her eyes continue to stare at me. I stare back. I don't know what to say or what to do, but I must start somewhere. Hi there, I speak, but she doesn't respond. What are you doing out here? She looks around and back at me. The more I study her, the more I realize she is really young. Years younger than the Philly appearance in the episode 23. She might not even be able to talk yet. That is, if she even can talk in my world. The fact she is existing right now has me reeling in confusion. I return my attention back to her and notice a small shiver of her body. The fall season is here. It can get pretty cold, especially around mid-September. I'm not sure how to exactly tackle this situation. Do I take her home? Do I call someone? Who would I even call? I'm a closet brony. So none of my friends know about my love of the show. I can't take her to a shelter. That's a stupid thought in the first place. Not only it would be a horrible sight, but she might be taken off to some lab and be experimented on, or something just equally horrible. I only have one choice left. She shakes once more as the cool air reaches her coat. Her wings ruffle as she lays back down and huddles her legs closer to her body to keep warm. That's the final straw. I can't take it anymore. I take off my own jacket and reach down to pick her up. I get the intentional response I expected. Fear. She begins to squirm around, unsure what I'm doing to her. She can't fly yet, but she still flutters her wings, as in praying for a miracle to happen that she does magically take flight. I set her into my jacket, wrap her up so that her head is sticking out, and hold her in my arms. She continues to squirm, but then my body heat begins to seep through the thin jacket and she settles down. It's all right. Let's get you somewhere warmer, huh? I smile at her. She looks up at me with much confusion in her eyes. She tries to process what's happening. Don't worry, I'm not going to hurt you. It's getting late, and you'll freeze out here. I think she understands me. For after I say those words, her eyes return to normal size. She snuggles herself more comfortably in my jacket. She squirms a little, trying to get into a more comfortable position. I can feel her hooves and wings poking me as she shifts. Then to top it off, she rests her chin onto my arm and lets out a deep sigh, closing her eyes, drifting into sleep. My heart explodes a third time. The entire walk back, I keep an eye out for other people who could pass. I don't want anyone else to see her. I have no way of knowing how they would react. As usual, though, I don't see a single person. It's midnight by the time I get home. Fortunately for us both, I had turned on my porch light. Otherwise, I might have passed it. Being one of the few occupied homes on the block meant a lot of darkness. Even the city stopped running power to the streetlights, so that made it all more difficult. I glanced down at the filly, who continued to sleep in my jacket as I carried her home. She was no longer shivering and felt quite warm. I walked up to my porch, careful not to make too much noise. As I get my keys out, unlock the 2 deadlock bolts, the master lock, and finally the doorknob, and open my door. It's dark inside due to me leaving well. It was still light out. A flick of the switch, a single light bulb in that hallway comes to life, shedding some light in the living room. Most of the furnishing is my parents'. Then again, so is the house. I became the owner after their passing, and have done what I can to keep it that way. Still with the filly Rainbow Dash in my arms, I walk into the living room. As I pass the family portrait, I greeted with a, "Hello, Mom. Hello, Dad." I know they aren't there, but knowing that they love me, and that I love them, helps me stay sane, and keep going in my miserable life. As I enter the living room, I can feel stirring in my arms. She had woken up. Most likely when I turned on the light, and now she's getting antsy. With no idea what to do or how to tackle this situation, I set her down on the couch. Immediately, she jumps out of my jacket, looks around, already investigating her surroundings. I continue to watch her as she explores the couch and continues to the coffee table. "What are you doing in my world?" I didn't mean to ask that out loud, but it just sort of happens every now and then. Only seeing my few friends once in a while. Only seeing my few friends once in a great while. I find myself talking to, myself a lot. I don't own a pet because it just means more money to dish out, and I'm already struggling as it is. From my question, the only response I get is a blank look on her face. That tells me she has no clue either. Then again, what would you expect from a filly that couldn't even talk? "Are you lost?" The moment the words left my mouth, her ears fall, she looks to the ground. Oh. The realization strikes that she has no clue what's going on, where she is, who I am, or anything else. She's beyond the word lost. She is misplaced. Well, until something happens, I guess you can stay with me. I see how she lifts her head, ears starting to erect once again, and looks at me with a worry. My words don't sound encouraging, so I throw a smile as I speak. "Don't worry. I'm sure whatever brought you here will fix itself in time. We just gotta wait. Is that all right?" I'm not sure why I asked that, but it seems to do the trick. Ears perk right up, and she smiles. The next few hours are spent giving her the grand tour of my house. Nothing amazing to see, and I avoid taking her in my room out of fear that the amount of large dirty clothes would swallow her up. Afterwards, I give her something to eat. I break up small carrots. Amazingly, I discovered she has some teeth. Since she is still a filly, I wonder if she could eat solid foods, such as carrots yet. Then again, she is from a cartoon, so I don't know what is correct for her anyway. Satisfied with the food, she finds a comfy spot in my father's reclining chair and sits in it. I don't mind. It's not like I sitting in it. I was never allowed to when he was alive. So why should I even change that? Why should that change even after his passing? It's his chair, but I'm not going to be mean to the filly for not knowing. So I let her sit where she is most comfortable. I also give her a small blanket to wrap herself in. To use my house current temperature, it's not cold as it is outside. It's not as cold as it is outside, but my furnace has had problems since my parents' passing. There was a trick to fixing it, but that died along with my father. I must have fallen asleep at some point. Honestly, I expected myself to be wide awake due to such an interesting event. But after the long hours at work, I staying up to take care of Dash. My body had other plans. I'm not sure how long I was out before I woke up. It doesn't matter. I close my eyes. I feel something against my side. I look. And sleeping beside me is a small cyan filly, her rainbow mane and tail still, her head resting inside my elbow. I know the Mimi gets old, but I must say it. My heart exploded again. Laying there, sleeping and curled up beside me, smiling ear to ear, her gentle breasts are barely heard. Her hair on her mane tickles my arm, but I hold back any movement to itch. The warmth of her body against my stomach warms my already weak heart. Though a few months isn't a long time, it's how long I have wanted to a moment like this. My own little pony, Rainbow Dash, a Rainbow Dash plushie to sleep with, hold tight. Now I have a real Rainbow Dash, a filly, sleeping beside me, sleeping at my side, content as though she's known me since birth. Right now there's nothing else that matters to me. My despair, my sore feet, and painful heart all go unnoticed, as nothing else can come remotely close to the feeling I have right now. This joy I am experiencing at this moment, as I lay awake on my couch, she is here. She is real. Right now, she is my little pony. She is my little Dashie. Second reading done. I will do some more, probably not today. We don't know. So, yeah.